We start with covering, of course, the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. We have statements coming out of the Iranian Foreign Ministry to start this hour. They have said that a ceasefire is unlikely while attacks continue. The spokesperson Esmail Bakai has told that Iran will continue to defend itself. He said talks are pointless except for defense and retaliations against enemies. Bakai insisted Iran has no conflict with Muslim neighbours, but must target facilities used by aggressors. The spokesperson also denied any Iranian attacks on Turkey, Azerbaijan or Cyprus. He suggested some reported strikes may have been false flag operations aimed at creating tension. Let's take a listen into the statements.
تجاوز نظامی آمریکا و رژیم صهیونیستی هستیم. ما این جنگ رو شروع نکردیم. جنگ رو بر ما تحمیل کردن. ما در میانه مذاکره بودیم که این جنگ به ما تحمیل شد. در چنین شرایطی ما جز دفاع، جز نشون دادن عزم و اراده خودمون برای مقاومت در برابر سیطره طلبی آمریکا و رژیم صهیونیستی هیچ کار دیگه‌ای نمیتونیم انجام بدیم. در حال حاضر همه توش و توان ما، همه حواس ما، همه ظرفیت ما معطوف به دفاع از کیان ایران هست. در نظر داشته باشید تجاوز نظامی ادامه داره و بنابراین در این وضعیت صحبت کردن از هر چیزی غیر از دفاع، غیر از پاسخ کوبنده به دشمن به نظرم خیلی جایی نداره.
Joining us now is Martin Saar Arias, an international affairs expert, joining us live from Ecuador. Martin, thank you very much for speaking to us here on the broadcast. Iran there ruling out the possibility of a ceasefire, at least for the time being. Negotiations are currently not ongoing. But of course, this comes after the United States and Israel bombed Tehran, killing the supreme leader, a day after negotiations were taking place in Geneva, negotiations which, according to the Omani foreign minister, were going well. Clearly, the trust deficit between both the United States and Iran, of course, it was never there with Israel to begin with, but that trust deficit surely has no chance of building back up once again very soon.
Well, the thing is that there was never a trust episode. Iran has openly and widely spoken about the U.S. being their enemy and Israel being their major enemy and their willingness to wipe it out of the map. So there has never been a trust or even a negotiation between the United States and Iran, apart from the nuclear deal that was like a nuclear agreement, but it was never about like alliance or giving up about their ambitions to conquer the Middle East or influencing the Middle East and their opposition to the West and specifically the US. Right now, as you said, after this major attack where the Supreme Leader was killed, it is absolutely no going back scene. The Iranian regime cannot and will not surrender after this loss that they had. I mean, we're talking about the Supreme Leader, and neither Israel or the U.S. have any intention to negotiate with a regime that is considered to be a terrorist organization. So both sides are not willing to have any approach.
But Martin, the United States is doing it before, whether that being indirect, of course, through the Omani intermediary. Iran was coming to the table there. It apparently, according to reports, it had agreed an even more lenient deal towards the United States than Obama even got in 2015. Of course, back in 2015, the United States went with extremely muscular diplomacy, threatened these huge sanctions, and they got themselves a deal. Why did the United States even bother coming to the table? especially if it seems like this was already on the agenda?
I think everything was already on strategy to attack the regime in their core. I think all of these negotiations were like merely diplomatic and merely for not giving the attention to the fact that the U.S. had for a long time trying to get the regime out of its power. But again, as I said, in a diplomatic level, there has always been talks and kind of approaches between Iran and the U.S., but never into the core. It has always been only diplomatic, but it has never been a real peace deal. Even though like we had like these nuclear deals, Iran never really worked according to the deal. They kept going with their enrichment program, and they never complied with the rules. So it was never a real and a deep peace agreement.
Okay, of course, diplomacy here taking a very, very much a back seat. But moving on from that, the spokesman, of course, also had a message for Iran's Muslim neighbours, the likes of which it has been striking American military bases, other facilities, of course. 13 countries overall been involved in this conflict since it kicked off just 10 days ago now. What are your thoughts on the fact that Iran is trying to reassure these Muslim nations, whether it be the United Arab Emirates, whether it be Saudi Arabia, all of which have been caught in this war? If Iran does indeed continue to disrupt the region with its strikes on the likes of Bahrain, Kuwait, just to name a few, how do you think these Muslim countries will respond if they do continue for a prolonged amount of time?
I think the war will get worse, and it will always escalate. Iran has always been an ideological enemy of the Sunni Western allied countries such as the Emirates and Saudi Arabia. They have never been in an allyship, or they have never been allies. In the best scenario, they have been in peace or in established diplomatic relations. But right now, after the Iranian attacks and after all what happened in Dubai and in all of these Sunni Muslim countries, there's no going back. I don't think they will ever approach to Iran, at least to this regime. And I think this will never get better for the region, and it will always escalate. I think right now these Sunni countries will keep approaching the U.S. because at the end of the day, they have American bases there, and their economical market is dependent on the U.S. So the most logical thing to do right now is to strengthen their relations with the U.S. and not with Iran.
Martin, stay with us. We're turning to our next update, and we move from Iran towards